Welcome to a Delco Nerd Network Hot Take. Guys, if you haven't seen a Hot Take before, well, it's where a few friends get in the basement and we give our thoughts, we give our opinions on a TV show, a movie, or a game. Today, it's going to be a movie, and that movie is Madam Web. My name is Anthony Ragucci, and here to discuss I'm Trapped in His Web, Chris Trio.
Oh my God, I knew you were going to say that, Gooch. I had a vision
You felt
of the future. Yeah.
In the web?
In the web.
Yeah.
It strung to me in a way.
I mean, dude, I felt that I was going to say it and then you were going to
react this way.
Yeah.
It's so good. I mean, we're on the same wavelength. I'm excited, Gooch. We're here to talk Madam Web.
Oh, we're definitely on the same wavelength.
And
Thank God. Thank God. Thank God.
I come out of this, I'm like, this is pure cinema.
Oh my God.
So, Gooch, let me just start this out by first asking, are you still sad we had to review this? Or do you regret having to have review? Because I know you were honestly, you were ready to skip it, which is fair.
First off, this movie's fucking horrible.
Yeah, don't see it. Don't see this movie in theater. We'll start there. But
I initially was like, Trio, can we skip Madam Web? We know it's gonna be bad.
I know.
It was bad.
It was worse than we thought.
And Trio was like, we're gonna see it, and I'm like, I didn't give much of a fuss. I literally, I didn't put up much of a battle. I'm like, okay, fine.
Your question in and of itself was the most pushback you gave.
Do I regret seeing this movie? Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. I think this is actually was like a total, nothing on you.
No,
total waste of time.
Sure.
Total waste of money. Total waste of Sony's money.
Sure.
Total waste of their time.
Right.
There's the only thing I think was cool were the Spider-Woman costumes. There's nothing redeemable about this film.
That were the entirety of which were shown in the trailer.
In 2 minutes.
Yeah.
They have 2 scenes, and it is not even
spoilers on this. I know
2
everyone's
minutes
very
of screen time. Nobody's watching this movie who's watching this. They're getting the they're looking for their what they thought their opinions to be validated,
right.
That it was bad, and it is in fact bad.
Right.
Morbius, and I don't want to compare this to anything else because I think that's wrong, but I'll only compare it to Morbius. Morbius is a much better film. It's much better put together. Its story makes a lot more sense. This story makes no sense. There's barely any superhero going on in this movie. There is none.
It's a total trick. It's a total marketing trick, in my opinion.
Fugazi.
It's as cynical as you can get.
Wall Street, right?
Yeah. Fugazi.
Yeah, it's a Fugazi.
To answer that question on my own behalf, I don't regret seeing it because it's our job. We have to. We have to see this, and I did need to see this to really understand how bad it truly is. Because it's so funny. I did see people sharing clips that weren't right, and I was like, well, just share the real clip because the real clip's worse. There was one line I kept seeing go around, and I was like, that wasn't in the movie at all. But there's enough terrible, awful things to not have to make
and I mean,
up.
do I genuinely mean this was a waste of time?
Sure,
Not really.
Yeah.
But if I guess I took myself out of the podcast moment,
right.
I was like, no.
If we didn't have this podcast, we wouldn't have seen this. I wouldn't have that was truly the main driver for me. But this, I really didn't think this could be this bad, and I really hate saying that because, to a degree, I understand how hard it is to get.
I don't think you should.
No, I feel bad to a degree for the people that worked on it that aren't in charge of decision making, that are just on the movie and they put a lot of hard work into this and they put out this thing that everyone is universally shitting on. So I feel bad in that regard for the crewmen, not necessarily the people who made the narrative choices and who actually put the film together in that respect. But I just don't how we were talking about. I think Dan Merle was saying the Marvels was unreleasable. This feels unreleasable to me because it's just so oddly paced. The story is so tangentially connected to Spider-Man in the most cynical ways possible, in my opinion. You have Ben Parker,
played by Adam Scott,
who's a great actor and doing whatever he can with the role, but there's absolutely no reason for him to be there besides being named Ben Parker. There's Mary Parker's there. You don't see Richard Parker. And you go to her baby shower for Peter, who is never named,
which is strange.
And
that whole
just
scene was
so
weird.
Many odd and awkward moments. And Dakota Johnson, she must have known from the beginning of being on the set. I felt like she was just truly putting in the most minimal effort possible.
You think? I think
I do.
I would think like I don't think the performances are bad. I would more blame the writing and the
100%
situation.
on most. I agree with
like,
that.
Like I don't like I wouldn't. I'm not thinking ill of Dakota Johnson or Sydney Sweeney
Right.
or Adam Scott or Emma Roberts who plays Mary Parker. Like,
I agree.
Like it just seems a bit above them to be like, oh, they sucked in this. Well, the whole thing.
No,
sucked.
and I agree with
so
that.
like. Yeah.
I agree with that to a degree, but it actually felt like those other actors besides Dakota Johnson were like attempting somewhat. Like to give a where I felt like Dakota was just like she had the same like affectation I felt like in every single scene. And that might come from because I know she's probably a good actor. I haven't really seen her in much. But it really did just feel like
50 Shades?
I have not.
Okay.
It's on the list. But I just think overall this is really one of the most cynical and grabby superhero property movies I've ever seen in my life, and it does make Morbius look like The Dark Knight.
This is the worst movie we'll ever review on this podcast.
Worst contemporary movie, maybe, yeah, for sure.
I don't think we're gonna get lower than this. I think this is also the worst superhero movie to come out. And let me, I
it's
think
the most 2000. It's even more 2002. This reminds me of the Birds of Prey TV show. Like that came out on the CW way back.
Yeah.
It's just such an odd, weird, tangential idea of like, let's take this character that no one really knows about and take these other three characters that someone... Madam Web has some I think she has some resonation with like 90s kids who watch the cartoons and stuff. Like, don't be wrong. I don't think she's like completely out there, but
I don't understand why Sony thinks people care about these characters outside of the context of Spider-Man. Cancel the Kraven movie. Write it off. Don't release it. I actually think I will put my foot down with that. I'm like, we should not support this.
But
we should not see it.
But again, we're not. So the reason I draw the line on this, our 2 tickets aren't making any difference in this thing.
I hear you.
And I think like as reviewers and
like
as people who
Kraven
have
looks
podcasts,
even worse.
Really, I actually think that has had the best trailers in my opinion compared to like all of these. I don't think it's gonna be good, but like I don't know. If it beats this, man, wow. But the problem is here, there's just no structure. Like we were talking about with Morbius, you can kind of hit those kind of villain and hero tropes as like he gets his powers, he tests out his powers.
It's a typical origin story, but
he fights a man with the same powers. Okay, fine. In this, it's just Dakota Johnson running into scenes and saving these women 3 different times. That's her whole powers. And then she like astral projects out of her body and does something weird at the end. I just can't imagine how they're sitting there and being like, this is good. We'll release this. This will do well. This will be fine. It really does make me question.
That's
like,
what I don't understand.
This is just such a classic example of like people who have the power don't know fucking shit.
And yeah, I mean, it's pretty clear that, whoever these writers are don't understand the character. Probably just gave
really
him,
bad track record.
They gave him like a bullet list of like, here's Madam Web and here what you do, go with it.
Well,
like,
and it also seems like there was so much like the villain's ADR is so bad. They're changing
the villain is like barely a villain at all. He's the worst.
He's an award-winning actor.
What?
Yes, in like I think like in like South America or something.
Oh,
like,
he's horrible.
So like, and I don't know, like,
and
he
his
is
voice
awful,
sucks.
and it's terrible, and again, like we were saying, it's ADR. Like he's clearly saying, like they'll ADR something in a movie where you can kind of their face is obstructed or something.
Right, you might not be able to tell. Or...
But like in this, he's clearly mouthing different words, and it's just ADRing over him.
Right.
And
yeah, he doesn't wear shoes half the time in the movie for some reason.
I think
just
again,
like
it's supposed to be like a character choice, but like.
No, it's just
fuck
weird.
is going on?
Character choice. What
that's
characters
what I mean.
are in this movie?
That's
like,
what I mean.
Like there's no like legitimate anything of quality. And
there were some truly laugh out loud moments though for us. I will say
we were unhinged in that theater. That I don't think I've ever seen. We've seen a lot of movies together, and I don't think I've ever seen us act in such a manner where we are losing our minds. We're cracking up at nothing half the time.
Well, it starts off so strong. I'm sorry.
No, we are just like losing it. I thought some kid in front of us was gonna shoot up the theater for like 10 or 15 minutes. This kid.
He had a backpack. It's so funny.
He had a backpack. He kept walking out and coming up the other way and coming back in,
like almost like
coming back in the row. Would look through something, immediately get up, walk back out, and do it again. I'm like, and Trio pointed it out to me, and I'm like, I like genuinely got nervous. I'm like, this is how I die, seeing fucking Madam Web.
Imagine If we died
This is how I
seeing
died.
Madam Web,
This is
that
how
would
I
be a
fucking
travesty. Oh my god, yeah.
Oh my god.
There were more people in there than I was expecting, to be quite honest.
I mean, you even said when you bought tickets,
there was no
was
one
in there.
else.
I was like, I really hope it's just me and you, because that would be so funny.
I mean, dude,
that would be so fun.
the thing that I think really got me laughing at the start was the spider people jumping through the trees.
Oh my, we both
and
lost
it looked so terrible.
Right, yeah, the intro scene, it's like, here's Dr. Webb, and she's looking into the spider. This has this like healing factor thing, and then like, you know, she gets betrayed by Ezekiel Sims, and then
Who's a bad guy just because he's a bad guy.
right, he
it
just
seems.
wants the spider power, okay, and then like the spider people just like
Yeah.
drop in from out of nowhere, and they're going like really fast, and it's like, what the fuck
is
this?
happening?
I want to read my Letterboxd review, because I did a play on the one of the scenes from Billy Madison where he awards him 0 points. May God have mercy
Sure.
on your soul. So this is what I wrote. I don't know if you read this.
I didn't.
What I have just seen is one of the most insanely idiotic things I've ever witnessed. At no point in Sony's rambling, incoherent plot was there anything even close that could be considered quality. Everyone who has seen Madam Web is now dumber for having seen it. I award it no points, and may God have mercy on comic book cinema.
And so that's another point. That's great.
I know we've been talking about the lows of comic book films, but we have now entered. I mean, like, it is just solidified how low it is. And how can anyone take comic book movies seriously when shit comes out like this?
Well,
like,
and the
now it
problem
makes
is-
sense.
well-
now, like, all the comments of, like, you know, Marvel movies are ruining things. Well, this movie,
Well, but see,
Yeah.
and then that's the biggest problem.
this is giving them the ammo they need.
But again, that's the pleb, like you just said. This is the biggest issue with this film. And the hardest part, the worst part. Marvel is kind of MCU, Disney.
Yeah,
They're listening.
Feige
They're like,
is letting them do
we're
it.
doing one. No, he's not. They
okay,
don't
sorry.
have. They can't. They have no say in this.
True,
Sony's
true,
going
right,
to do
right,
this
right.
regardless. So
Well,
I actually feel
they're giving them some sort of.
no, they aren't.
Okay.
No, they aren't. They
You
don't have
think?
they don't have to give them any okay. They own all those characters. They own the movie rights. The Marvel and greater MCU.
Maybe it's just Spider-Man then.
No, it is. Well, no. So
Like,
that's
like
how.
Spider-Man proper.
Well, Tom
where they-
Holland Spider-Man,
Where
So-
they have the handshake agreement.
Yes. Well, so
Right.
that's how their system works is that they split profits, or they split profits like 75,
Right.
30 on Spider-Man
Yeah.
solo films, but then Marvel can use Tom Holland Spider-Man in whatever they want.
I interrupted you. I thought you were going
No,
there,
it's okay. But so I feel bad for Marvel in this case because they're taking the year off. They're stopping. They're like, we're doing besides
Deadpool.
we're doing one this year. We're doing Deadpool. That's something everyone wants to see. We're trying to listen to you. Okay. And then Sony's over there. Like, oh, you're taking a break? Okay. Here's Venom 2. Here's Madam Web. And here's Craven. To just saturate the market and make people, the plebs, think that is just Marvel and like these movies are getting even worse. Look at what the MCU is doing, blah, blah. The normal person doesn't know that these are two completely separate decision-making teams.
Right. We
So
were
it's
talking right before we started. Dakota Johnson, her press tour for this movie was like genuinely cringy, laughable, and almost felt bad for the whole situation. But she was on Kelly and I think Michael, whoever her husband is, she, Kelly and Rip, or Kelly and Regis and Kelly.
Yeah.
That show.
What it used to be. Yeah.
And Kelly Ripa is talking to Dakota Johnson like she's in the MCU, and it's like nobody decided to like give her a little bit of a briefing on like,
Sony
hey,
don't-
like this is what this movie is, and like it's not connected to the like the proper stuff, so don't bring up those Marvel movies. Like,
Sony doesn't want to do that.
and I like Dakota Johnson has to know this at
By
this
now
point.
she does, yeah.
And it
sure.
seems like Dakota Johnson knows nothing about Madam Web either.
Yeah.
Like.
And that's why I sort of feel bad for Dakota, but at the same time, like, she's also just leaning into the insanity of this, where it's just
She
like, what do you
definitely
do?
is.
Like,
She definitely real.
it
like,
kind of like
that one line where the guy was like brought up the meme line
yeah.
from the trailer about her parents getting killed
Yeah.
by spiders over the
Or like, yeah, the-
right. I'm like, I don't necessarily like you wouldn't do that to any other actor.
well, no, that. But
I don't know. I
don't even think that like it's not even. I actually think she's kind of being a jerk most of the time. I think in that
yeah,
specific time, she is like.
I didn't like that question. Like even if you were trying to be funny, like
I think
I don't think it was like a good joke.
I think that's the opposite like end of it. Like, yeah, you don't say that, but I do think she's been on some interviews and just the way she's almost being like. And again, I guess it's a bad movie and you didn't know, but like just like straight up like fuck you to everyone about it almost and like truly shitting on it.
Trying to just move past it.
Yeah, which is like I guess like yeah, you know it's a bad movie. maybe you can trash it, but it does feel a little icky to me. Again, for those people who are working on it that have nothing to do with the story decisions, that are just trying to make something good, and they unfortunately were pushed into this.
I mean, it's kind of funny when we talk about maybe like the writer's strike, and then somebody wrote this.
So the track record on this for these writers has not. They wrote Power Rangers, which I enjoyed, which it seems people seem to be coming back around to for some reason. But all their other films,
it's kind of like when you look at the writer's strike, and it's like, well, you're not doing a pretty good job in some instances.
Well, but this is so again, I think you can take that on a case by case basis. Yeah, if you take these two people, I don't know how they're getting hired still, and I'm sorry, I feel bad saying that.
No, I don't. This is a piece of shit.
Sure.
I don't feel bad.
No, but again, I'm a nice person inherently, Gooch. I don't like just being like shit, fuck you. But I would
normally not be like this, but like I'm putting my foot down about these because I don't want Sony to release any more of these things. Cancel all the movies.
But I don't know how we
throw them in the fucking trash and let's move the fuck on.
I don't know how we can say that any more than by these ticket sales. They're not doing. These movies don't do well.
Did you?
Aside from Venom,
did you get the weekend?
I didn't on this. It was like nothing. But
yeah, I know the first day was
their
like
only one that
million.
did well, and I think that's what set them up to be like, well, we just got to hit the right one. We just got to do it right.
Well, I mean, I think they kind of did that the first time.
No, that's what I'm saying. Well, they got exactly. They're trying to hit
Venom.
With Venom,
the first
and it worked.
Even
well
though
enough.
I didn't like it.
Exactly.
Right.
But
right.
It commercially
made money.
did well.
Yeah.
And now that they're like, well, let's just do it again. And they had some success with Spider-Verse, which was, I'm sorry, by accident because they didn't care about that film. And then as soon as they start getting involved heavily in the decision making, that's when I feel like you start to see
and
the
I think
cracks
you see the cracks show even into the Spider-Verse.
Sure, to a degree. I think overall, though, we're on the out on that one. You know what I mean? I think,
but let's kind of rein it back
Sure.
and talk about the movie a little bit, because there really isn't much to talk about, and I have nothing positive to say about this movie. There is no superhero stuff in this, and I know we already talked about it, but like when there are no fight scenes. Like the fight scenes are like not fight scenes, like our main villain gets crushed by like a big Pepsi sign P, and like that's how he dies. He gets hit by a car twice by Dakota Johnson, runs him over literally 2 times.
I kept waiting for it to turn. You know what I mean? Like I kept waiting for it to be like, oh, now they get their powers. Now we're gonna get
not even for the last fight.
There's
well,
nothing.
she does.
Well, she gets
Madam
Web does.
She gets the like astral project, but like. Sydney Sweeney and Sydney Sweeney and crew, like the 3 Spider Women who, again, we see what you see in the trailers of them with their suit is it. That's it.
Yeah.
And then you get like a future scene at the end,
which is
really
again,
quickly.
The same stuff. Yeah.
And nothing. Absolutely nothing.
They're like, stick around and maybe you'll get this. It's like, well, why wasn't the first one anything like
this?
This
movie is almost like adoptive mom has to be a mom to like teenagers that aren't.
Well, that's
her
the thing.
mom,
They're trying to go through this like theme of like motherhood and like she felt abandoned by her mother, and then she realizes that her mother was
trauma.
Everyone is missing their family. They go through a scene where they all one by one tell you their harsh backstory in the forest, and they're all missing their parents. And then Dakota Johnson's Madam Web hates her mom because she was in the jungle when she was pregnant, but it turns out she was in the jungle to find a cure for the disease that was going to like kill her daughter, her being Cassie. So like, there's like ideas here where I'm like, but these people can't execute any of it. Like an evil Spider-Man that's hunting down people, and you play it almost like as a slasher, and like you have these 3 Spider-Women actually turn to Spider-Women by the end. I think you can make that sound pretty cool. I think
and
you
how
can
do they even get their powers? Who knows?
But that's what I mean. It's all like, this is gonna happen, and it's like, but what do you mean? What's gonna happen?
Like Madam Web having her powers makes sense. Like you see it. She her mother is shot by Ezekiel Sims. The Spider People find her and don't resurrect her, but give her like the spider power healing factor thing, but it saves her baby, not her. And then she's like somehow shipped back to New York,
and then she needs to come back and have like a vision quest in the thing again
with the spider dude who looks like
normal now,
who looked like a feral like native person, and then now is wearing like some designer clothes like for some reason.
If I can give one, I actually didn't hate the like weird like tribal spider people design, but you don't see it enough. Like there's
barely get a shot of it.
Barely get a shot of it. I'm like, oh, there's some kind of interesting aspect there. And it's gone. It truly is just like an amalgam of what the fuck is happening. And like again, it's just 4 women running away from a guy in the boys style Spider-Man costume who they won't let swing on a web. They won't let him swing on a web. He'll jump very far.
Yeah, and
but
then
no
like,
swinging
and
on
he'll
a
jump
web.
like right off screen.
Yeah,
and
that's it.
cut.
And it'll cut to him just jumping again. Let him swing. Why can't he swing on a web? What do you? If you're gonna do it, just do it.
I even think some of the scenes where like she's getting her powers and she's on that she's at the party and they all get called to that fire or whatever, and like or she sees her like captain get hit by the truck, and literally, did you not see me go like he drives off and he's like, something's telling me like to not let you go for me to drive or something like that. So she's seeing a vision of the future and he goes off and that like a semi like T-bones him, and I'm literally like, here it comes. I like predicted it. It was like the funniest thing, but it was like I'm like, I don't care about this, and then he fucking dies. It's like
what?
Just, I don't care at all. I don't care about any characters in this movie. I don't really understand how you're supposed to care. Cassie Webb is not likable.
No.
Like she has that awkward scene when they're when they're in the hospital after they do like a call that they bring a woman in, and her and Ben Parker are standing there, and like a little kid like gives her a drawing, and it's the most it's supposed to be awkward, but like the scene is also just awkward. Like it's just weird.
It's weird.
I'm like, what
I don't know what
this?
they're trying to convey. Like she can't take like a compliment, or
right,
she can't
or
like emotion she's weird with.
And I know like Madam Web isn't like a villain character. Like she's definitely not,
like a watcher. She's
not like an anti-hero. She's not like Deadpool.
She's like a being. Almost, I would have like she's like this omnipotent like force almost.
Yeah, in the
she,
comics, she controls the web of life and destiny, which essentially is like Spider-Verse before Spider-Verse, and it's just like here are all the different versions of Peter Parker and how they intersect, and Madam Web controls that. Or something to do with it, and like watches it.
She's like the Oracle for Spider people, in a way. And
right.
Listen, if you told, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I don't even know where I was going with this. But I think I think just to say like she's not likable at no point in the film. And then she loses her sight at the end, which is goofy because like a fucking like firework hits her in the face.
And it's just blinds her.
How can I take that seriously? It
genuinely felt like at the end they were like, wait, she needs to be
And then
blocked?
she can't walk all of a sudden? How can she not walk?
I guess she hit her head. I don't know.
Sure.
Gooch, I don't know. You're looking for answers where there are none.
Did the Pepsi peg her in the back? If you with that product placement, that Mountain Dew also there.
There was so much everywhere.
Yeah.
You could have if you told me someone filmed this movie, effects and all, in 2002, put it into a vault, took it out, and then put it in theaters today, I would have been like, oh, that makes 100% sense. It feels like it just takes all of the worst tropes of those early superhero films
and does
every one of them.
All.
Whether it comes down to these weird off costumes that you never see, or like these
CW Spider-Man,
they're like
the
almost
boys.
Embarrassed of like the comic book aspects and like don't really want to lean into it, but they kind of lean into it. I don't know. It's just so weird. And that shot of her in her full Madam Web garb at the end, it's like these weird flashes of the future. It looks like a L'Oreal commercial. It looks like they like set it up and she's just like, ooh, like I just can't believe someone sat there and filmed it that
Nobody
day.
cares about Madam Web. Nobody cares about, the others,
Jessica Drew.
No, it's not Jessica Drew.
Well, she is, but like, sorry,
it's not
she's
Jessica Drew.
Yeah, it's Jessica though, right? Isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what
Jessica
confuses me. Wood something. Hold
listen,
on,
I'm going to say here, and I firmly believe in this, anything can be good when it comes down to ideas. Iron Man was not a mainstay name before any of his films came out.
Jessica Carpenter. She, like all those Spider-Woman are like people in the comics, but like who cares about them? Nobody knows who they are outside the context of Spider-Man. So that's another thing. Like I said it at the beginning, I'll say it now. Why is Sony thinking they can do these C-list characters who are are Spider-Man characters without Spider-Man?
Because they own them. That's the only ones they own. They own the catalog of all the Spider-Man people.
And I guess it's like, oh, we have these characters, we're gonna do it. Right, like
we can, and fuck you, like we
and we're gonna try to make as much money as we can.
And I think that's like the biggest PSA I want to get out here. And it sucks because this will further, like you said, lead to people's idea of like the superhero fatigue, and I don't blame them when you're looking at examples like this.
I mean, the superhero fatigue is nothing but 100% at this point.
I disagree. I think good superhero movies still do well. I mean, look at Guardians and stuff. You need to make a good film.
But I think even despite of that, it's just I think everyone's tired. I think we're tired.
I think
we're tired of talking about bad superhero shows and bad superhero movies. We just want them to be good.
But that's what I'm saying. If they're good, I think that's where the thought process is off. People are tired of, they have bad story fatigue, in my opinion. Bad
superhero.
Well, bad story
fatigue.
No, bad movie fatigue in general. Movies aren't doing well, unfortunately. Aside from like Barbie and Oppenheimer last year, unless people see like it get these rave reviews or something, they're not going to see it in the theater. So like, I take people's point on the superhero thing, but it's about the story. It doesn't matter. I'm sorry if it doesn't matter if it's a superhero or a Western. If you make a great film, people will see it.
So I mean, but that also says the writers they have aren't good enough.
They're terrible
to write what we need for this to be good.
And in a normal, sane world, Sony would have already like seen this after Morbius and not let them write this film.
Right.
But they
like
did.
There's no way they looked at Morbius. It became the biggest meme ever.
But they took the wrong again.
Not
they took
like
the
a
wrong
thing in the
it.
movie. The entirety of the movie became a meme.
It's Morbin time.
Right. Like.
But do you see how dumb they are? Remember when they started like leaning into it and being like, "Oh, people want us
We're
to
going to re-release this."
People tricked them into thinking that. That's how dumb these executives are at these places.
Right. There's engagement, but it's not good engagement.
Like if this isn't the engagement of people. Oh, it's Morbin time. We're going to go see your movie. It's like, no, your movie's a joke. Your movie is a joke. That's what is going on.
Right.
It's not like
Morbius is a joke.
People aren't laughing with you. They're laughing at you.
Right.
And that's the problem. So my biggest PSA is that this is not Marvel. This is not really. This is Sony trying to make the buck that they can and trying to ride off that superhero thing at this point. And this is what will shovel the shit onto the heat pile and make people feel that way. And I totally understand it. I don't want to get any more angry though. Fuck Madam Web. I'm joking. Obviously, I'm not actually. It's just more just like it sucks because it taints the market.
I have no idea what else to say about this movie.
I think we can call it there.
Yeah, I even said like if we go longer than a half hour, I'm gonna like purposely be like we're cutting this off now because I don't want to give this movie all that time. Like
sure.
I do dislike it, and you shouldn't go see it. But like I also be like, yeah, we need to degree as the audience, as people who even cover the stuff, put our foot down in a way. And be like, hey, this is shit, and we're not going to stand for it.
But that's our job to see it, you know? Like, it's our job to tell people it's shit.
Sure. But I just, I don't want it to be my job, I guess is what I'm saying.
That's fair.
Yeah, like, I don't, like,
we maybe shouldn't have a podcast on this stuff.
I'm glad, but, like, with things like Echo and other shows that, like, maybe we're not okay with, like, it's different. Like, this just felt like, from the beginning, from trailer one, from moment one, we knew this was going to be bad. So that negativity has been building up since then.
It's tough to take it out of yourself.
You know,
when
like
you're going in.
when we see each other and we're like, oh my god, you know, like
I will listen.
Like we're
for how
cracking
terrible
up in
this
the
was,
theater.
I enjoy the movie going experience with us anyway. Like regardless
Sure.
of how much I didn't enjoy the movie, I did enjoy seeing it with my own eyes and like being there to just. I am kind of the mind of if you can see any film in the theater and you're able. I think it's the best idea too, regardless of its quality, just to support theaters in general themselves. But when it comes down to this stuff, yeah, wait for your favorite reviewers. Wait for and I get it, you know, if we don't want to talk about it, it makes sense. But I do think it is a bit of our job in the way of like we should be able people should be able to watch us and then start our review and have us be like, don't see it, don't do it, and then have them not then support that. Because our 2 tickets aren't making that difference. Even the 10 people in our theater aren't making a difference. Sony's apparently going to make their choice regardless. Because they want to make money off the thing that they can't
I mean,
off.
it's like, you kind of look at like Batgirl. It's like, okay, if that came out, was that going to be good? You know, I know we're kind of like, there's like a movement be like, hey, like we would like to see Batgirl at finish.
But that's what I mean.
But it's scrapped it. But then it's like, now we're on the other side of a coin where like a bad movie got released. And I'm saying like the exact opposite, like trash this shit. Like,
it is wild that Sony wouldn't again. This did feel unreleasable in a lot of ways to me, and it really kind of. It's almost good that it came out for the reason that it just so nakedly shows the thought process of these decision makers, and like what they think will make money and what they think like will accept. And like, you know what, people not going to this movie, yes, do that. But I will go see it to tell you not to see that movie. Anyways.
Gooch. I guess I'll have to come too.
Gooch. Anything else, pal?
Let's disconnect from the web. Let's get the fuck out of here.
We'll wrap this web up. All right. Thank you all so much for watching with us live. If you've been with us on twitch.tv/Delco Nerd Network, we really appreciate your time. You can find this podcast anywhere podcasts are found on the worldwide web, if you will, at Delco Nerds on basically everything when it comes to the social medias, everything with an at, I should say. We got a Facebook page, Discord channel. All that will be linked down below. You can find this all information on our website as well, DelcoNerdNetwork.com. You can even email us, DelcoNerds@gmail.com, with all your comments, questions, or concerns. We'd be happy to get back to you.
And if you did see Madam Web, let us know what you think about it down in the comments.
Please.
Also, let us know if your friends saw it, what you're hearing about it. I'm especially as somebody if I'm talking to you who's not going to see it, I would like to hear what you're thinking of this movie or what you've heard and stuff like that. And it's okay, what we just said backs up what you've heard and what your friends are saying. Be interested. Give us some of that engagement. Let's start a conversation
I would love
down
to see
in those comments.
Likes, comments, all that good stuff. We really appreciate it. If you can leave us a review on your favorite podcast services, those go a long way as well for, spreading the word. But for Gooch, I've been Trio. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay nerdy. We'll see you next time.